at night when the shadows are falling, I hear your rolling surf calling, calling and calling to me. Waikiki, 'tis for you that my heart is yearning. My thoughts are always returning out there to you across the sea. Your tropic nights and your wonderful charms are ever in my memory. And I recall when I held in my arms an angel sweet and heavenly. Waikiki, my whole life is empty without you. I miss that magic about you, magic beside the sea.
Waikiki, the Pacific's most alluring paradise, where warm waves and gentle trade winds whisper a song of welcome to over 7 million visitors each year. It's only about 20 acres of sand in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, but it's come to deserve its title, the most famous beach in the world. Waikiki is located in the southeastern part of the island of Oahu and is in reality a peninsula surrounded on 3 sides by water. Protected by the steep ranges of the Ko'olau Mountains, Waikiki offers ever-present sunshine, beautiful beaches, and warm, clear oceans. Waikiki's greatest attractions are probably its magnificent ocean and beautiful white sand beach, which stretches 2.5 miles along the winding shoreline. The water is clear and warm, ranging in temperature year-round from a perfect 72 to 78 degrees Fahrenheit. This lovely location was enjoyed before Westerners ever gazed upon Waikiki's spectacular shores. Beginning around 1100 AD, it was home to the Ali'i, or royalty of Hawaii. The most famous Hawaiian monarch was King Kamehameha the Great, who conquered all of the islands in 1794 and united its people. During this period, Waikiki was covered in taro fields, fish ponds, and streams. Fresh water would abundantly bubble up through the ground, giving Waikiki its name, which literally means spouting or spurting waters. This was a period when the Ali'i surfed on rolling waves. The plentiful taro was pounded into poi. Fish were harvested in the surrounding fish ponds, and children frolicked happily on the shore. Reminders of this period still remain. In the heart of Waikiki Beach, you'll find 4 rather unassuming rocks known as the Wizard Stones. The legend behind the stones tells of 4 powerful wizards who came from Tahiti in 1400 AD. These soothsayers transferred their magical powers to the stones before disappearing. When you're on the beach, stop and take a look at them. Maybe they still hold some magic for you. In the early 1800s, the thatched roof bungalows of Hawaii's royalty dotted Waikiki Beach. The lifestyle was easy and casual. With the arrival of the first white men in 1786 and the increasing travels of royalty to faraway places, Waikiki was transformed into an interesting blend of European architecture and tropical ways. King Lunalilo, Queen Emma, King Kamehameha V, King Kalakaua, Queen Kapiolani, Queen Liliuokalani, Prince Kuhio, and Princess Kaiolani all had grand residences on Waikiki's serene shores. If some of these names sound familiar, it's because many of the streets and parks you see here today in Waikiki are named for the ruling monarchs of the past. Princess Kaiolani's ghost is said to still walk the grounds of her beloved home in Waikiki. Waikiki's most recognizable landmark is majestic Diamond Head. Known to the Hawaiians as Mount Leahi, it was born from the fires of a volcanic explosion 15,000 years ago. The crater is approximately 2 miles in diameter and stands 762 feet in height. In 1825, British sailors climbing Mount Leahi found samples of calcite crystal. Mistaking these crystals as diamonds, they renamed the crater Diamond Head. Today, enthusiastic and energetic visitors can hike to Diamond Head's summit and experience breathtaking views. Below the slopes of Diamond Head, on the east side of Waikiki, is the expansive and beautiful Kapiolani Park. The park has become a recreational haven for islanders and visitors alike. Opened in 1877, the Kapiolani Park of yesteryear contains streams, bridges, duck ponds, and trails. During the Spanish-American War, from 1898 to 1902, the park became an army camp called Camp McKinley. For years, a famous horse racing track lined Kapiolani Park's perimeters. In the 1920s and 30s, polo games were held when horse racing in the park had become illegal. On the ocean side of Kapiolani Park is the Waikiki Natatorium. The large saltwater pool and amphitheater was built in 1927 as a memorial to the casualties of World War I. Many swimmers, from Buster Crabbe to Johnny Weissmuller, swam its lengths. Across the street at the Royal Hawaiian Bandstand, outdoor band concerts are still held, as they have been for decades. In the 1950s, a bigger entertainment area was built, named the Waikiki Shell. Its innovative acoustical design provides listeners with an intimate musical experience under a blanket of stars. It's also the home of the famous Kodak Hula Show. The colorful Polynesian Review has been entertaining crowds for over 50 years. Also located in Kapiolani Park is the Waikiki Aquarium. It was originally opened in 1904 as an end-of-the-line attraction for the Honolulu Rapid Transit Company. Previously, there was a mule-driven tram. The aquarium has grown considerably since its humble beginnings. Now, it is home to rare Hawaiian monk seals and hundreds of colorful varieties of tropical fish. Every day, people who visit the aquarium are awed by its colorful undersea life. Kapiolani Park is the home of the Honolulu Zoo as well. Opened in 1917 with one elephant named Daisy and 2 wallabies, the Honolulu Zoo now boasts a friendly animal population and is one of the don't-miss attractions of Waikiki, especially for the kids. When it comes to recreational activities, Kapiolani Park is unmatched. There are lighted tennis courts, baseball diamonds, archery areas, soccer fields, jogging and biking trails, and sprawling picnic areas. Even though the face and activities of the park have changed from time to time, people will never cease to enjoy the relaxing atmosphere it provides. Although Kapiolani Park hosts thousands of enthusiastic guests, steps away lies Waikiki's most famous attraction and center of activity, Waikiki Beach. The coastline of Waikiki, a continuous strand of natural and man-made beaches, has endured major changes and facelifts. Did you know that the sands of Waikiki we all now enjoy were actually brought in from the island of Molokai? A premier ocean attraction, avid surfers come from all over the globe to challenge the well-known South Swells of Waikiki. But surfing is only one of the many activities that draws millions to Waikiki's waters. Waikiki Beach wasn't always a bustling mecca for millions of vacationers. The visitors of yesteryear found their way to a Waikiki beach that was both uncluttered and extraordinarily tranquil. The first hotel was opened in 1837. Then came a hostelry called the Park Beach Hotel. Both were short-lived, however. In 1890, a family resort called the Sans Souci was established. French for without a care, the Sans Souci's most famous guest was the world-renowned writer Robert Louis Stevenson. During his 6-week stay, Robert Louis Stevenson had this to say about the Sans Souci. He wrote in the guest register, "If anyone desires such old-fashioned things as lovely scenery, quiet, pure air, seawater, good food, and heavenly sunsets hung out before his eyes over the hills of Waianae, I recommend him cordially to the Sans Souci." The Sans Souci has another distinction. It is the site of the first telegraph cable brought by the cable ship Silvertown in December 1902. Hawaii was now linked with San Francisco and the rest of the world. Waikiki was becoming an increasingly popular visitor destination. New accommodations were needed to house the budding tourist business. This classic Edison footage shot around the turn of the century shows Kalakaua Avenue as it once was. Who would have believed the changes to come? The Moana Hotel, the beautiful white hotel which still stands today in the middle of Waikiki, was opened on March 12, 1901. Sometimes called the First Lady of Waikiki, the Moana Hotel symbolized the beginning of an era of tropical gentility. Presidents and royalty from around the world were among her guests. The English Prince of Wales, later to become Edward VIII, was a guest at the Moana in April of 1920. He danced in the salon and, wearing a Moana Hotel bathing suit, paddled an outrigger canoe. Many of famous guests strolled the Moana's 300-foot pier before it was torn down in 1930. Between 1935 and 1972, the Moana's Banyan Courtyard became internationally famous as the home of Hawaii Calls, a Hawaiian music show which was, at one time, the most widely listened to radio show on Earth. With the Moana, Waikiki was on its way to becoming the world's happiest rendezvous, famous for its exotic island beauty. The docking of each cruise ship brought more and more visitors to the islands, which meant more and more hotels. The Seaside was a charming hotel of the period. Its cottage-like facilities hosted such notables as Alice Roosevelt Longworth and Jack London. The Waikiki Inn was another popular gathering place that later became the Waikiki Tavern. To this day, the surf break at that location is called Taverns. The Hau Tree Hotel was located at the end of Lures Street, named for Robert Lures. His home was on the site, which is now the Halekulani Hotel. In Hawaiian, Halekulani means house befitting heaven. On the lanais of these grand hotels, patrons graciously sipped cocktails and were awed by beautiful sunsets. Music that the atmosphere inspired wafted gently over the tops of the rolling whitecaps. Sharing Waikiki's growing popularity were the legendary Waikiki Beach Boys. The Beach Boys staffed the early hotels, as well as providing surfing instruction, Hawaiian musical entertainment, and outrigger canoe rides. The Outrigger Canoe Club started in 1908 and the Huinalu Beach Boys Club were dedicated to reviving the royal sports of surfing and canoe paddling. From these clubs, some of Hawaii's greatest athletes emerged. The most famous beach boy, of course, was Duke Kahanamoku. In the Olympics of 1912, Duke brought honor and prestige to Hawaii when he won a gold medal as champion swimmer of the world for the 100-yard freestyle. As a world-renowned surfer, Duke's greatest moment in Hawaii occurred when he rode a wave for over 1.5 miles at Steamer's Lane, a popular local surf spot. In the old days, this is where Waikiki Harbor was, hence the name Steamer Lane. Another beach boy who made good was Olympic gold medalist Buster Crabbe. Buster gained fame and fortune as Hollywood's Tarzan, Buck Rogers, and Flash Gordon. With the growing popularity of beach activities came the liberation of swimsuit attire. In 1913, 6 girls dared to swim in boys' bathing suits, sans stockings, and long skirts. This was very risque for those days, but certainly a far cry from the liberated swimsuits of today. The Roaring '20s and the years following World War I brought many changes to Waikiki. The most dramatic metamorphosis was the draining of the swamps and streams and the creation of the Alawai Canal. With the development of added acreage and solid ground to build on, Waikiki became a bustling suburb. Business grew by leaps and bounds in Waikiki. Cruise ships brought increasing numbers of visitors to the shores of Waikiki. Greeting them was the famous Aloha Tower, which was constructed in 1926. Who can forget the nostalgia of Hawaii's famous boat days? One of Waikiki's most notable landmarks, the Royal Hawaiian Hotel, was built in 1927. The Pink Lady, as she is still sometimes called, reflects the romantic Hawaiian ambiance and charming architecture that make it irresistible to the incurably romantic. The famous and influential were now coming to Waikiki's serene shores. Shirley Temple, Charlie Chaplin, and many others. Tourism boomed throughout the 30s and early 40s, and then came World War II. Waikiki Beach was now lined with barbed wire, and tourism was put on hold. The Moana and the Royal Hawaiian Hotels became rest and recreation centers for various branches of the military. Located on the west side of Waikiki lies Fort DeRussy, once a very active military base. It provides a singular oasis of flora and fauna on the beautiful white sands of Waikiki. After World War II, it became a rest and rehabilitation camp for the armed services. The park at Fort DeRussy is now the home of an extensive military museum. Part of Hawaii's rise in international popularity in the late 40s and beyond could be attributed to the returning veterans of World War II. They enthusiastically spread the word about this irresistible island paradise and would help to make Waikiki the hub of the Pacific. By the time the late 50s came along, Waikiki was ready to burst onto the international travel scene. When Hawaii became the 50th state, visitors were even more inspired to come, and the visitor industry has boomed ever since. Now, the choices of accommodations are endless in Waikiki. There is a wide spectrum of economical, mid-priced, and luxury lodging. The modern-day Waikiki offers a cornucopia of fun in the sun, sizzling nightlife, and just plain relaxing. There's an activity to match just about any taste. Exploring the bustling streets is always an adventure. The main thoroughfares of Waikiki are Kalakaua Avenue and Kuhio Avenue. They are lined with a myriad of shops, boutiques, restaurants, and convenience stores. The ethnically diverse population of Oahu makes the island a melting pot of east and west. This makes for a veritable smorgasbord of delicious island foods. Many restaurants quench hungry appetites with a rainbow of delectable cuisine. Every meal is a memorable experience. Waikiki shopping offers everything from puka shells to precious pearls, from aloha wear to the world's finest designer fashions. There are many popular shopping areas, like the Royal Hawaiian Shopping Center and the International Marketplace, a vibrant mecca of shops and entertainment. The famous Duke's nightclub was located here, once home to the renowned Don Ho and the Ali'is. The club was named for its owner, Hawaii's most famous surfer, Duke Kahanamoku. In quaint King's Village, you can see the historical Royal King's Guards perform. And there's other great sights to see. Adjacent to Waikiki, you'll find the world-famous Ala Moana Shopping Center. The world's largest ceramic murals, 300 feet high, decorate the exterior of the Hilton Hawaiian Village's Rainbow Towers. When the sun goes down, Waikiki wakes up and sparkles with tropical excitement. One of the best ways to experience Waikiki is aboard a delightful sunset cruise. The extraordinary sunsets and twinkling skyline views offer lovers unforgettable memories. Everything from romantic strolls to the glamour of the popular Don Ho show is within a short hop. Waikiki also abounds with hot night spots, great shows, and exciting dance clubs. Waikiki, once the exclusive playground of the early Hawaiian royalty, is now the world's most popular tourist destination, with much to do and see. This cosmopolitan paradise has become an international center of world trade. Waikiki is renowned for its friendly aloha spirit. In fact, one of the must-see attractions around late September is the universally recognized Aloha Week Festival and Parade. This is Hawaii's chance to share its special aloha spirit with the island population and the rest of the world. Just as the Hawaiian Ali'i enjoyed their beloved Waikiki, the visitors of today share that same special feeling on Waikiki's magical shores. So here's to Waikiki, then and now.
At night when the shadows are falling, I hear your rolling surf calling, calling and calling to me. Waikiki, 'tis for you that my heart is yearning. My thoughts are always returning out there to you across the sea. Your tropic nights and your wonderful charms are ever in my memory. And I recall when I held in my arms an angel sweet and heavenly. Waikiki, my whole life is empty without you. I miss that magic about you, magic beside the